How's it going? Appreciate you for tuning in to another episode of Chomping at the Bit. So, in this one, I want to talk about the Red Sox. It's been a frustrating season, to say the least. Look, I came into this season thinking that this squad, with what they did in the offseason and everything like that, should be a playoff team. Now, I didn't think they were going to win the division in any means, but I thought they should be a wild card team. But if you've been following the team, been real up and down, seems like we can't really look at any point in this season where everybody's been kind of playing really well. It seems like there's always some aspect with this team that's just not up to snuff, whether it is defense, pitching, hitting, timely hitting, you know, I don't know, home run ball. Like it just seems like there's always something missing with this team. So when they went into this previous series against the Yankees, first series against the Yankees all season, the worry for me was the team was down, go to New York, get demolished, and then we're going to be sitting here like, yeah, this team might need to just sell everything, sell everybody that they can. But then they go into New York and they surprised me. You'd have to let me know if you were surprised at what they did. They went into New York, scored a bunch of runs, took the series took 2 games out of 3 in the series with, Marcelo Mayer hitting his first home run, which I'm going with Mayer. I'm tempted to say Meyer, but I think it's Mayer. So Mayer hits his first home run. We see Campbell have a good series, a series that he needed. In his first taste of the rivalry, he stepped up. He hit that big home run in Game 3 opposite field down the line. We saw what Trevor Story, you know, contribute, and he's had a rough season. I'll talk about him in a little bit. Devers continues to kill Yankee pitching. He hits 2 home runs over the weekend. And even with all that, the pitching wasn't great. Like Crochet had a rough start, but then he still gave you the 6-7 innings that you need from your ace. But Bueller struggled again. He gave up, what was it, 5 earned, 7 total, only got through 2 innings. So the bullpen got, depleted from his start. Like I said, you still had to use the bullpen in Crochet start, but he battled. He kept you in it, which was good. Dobbins, I got to start with this. The way that they, in terms of, I believe it was ESPN and I'm trying to see what other broadcasts did I watch. Yeah, it was like the ESPN broadcast, I guess. Talking about how Dobbins said, he grew up like a diehard Sox fan or something like that. And if it came down to the Yankees offering him the only contract or retirement, he'd retire because he would never play for the Yankees. Like we haven't heard that before from other athletes. I believe Ken Griffey Jr. at one point said he would never play for the Yankees. Eduardo Rodriguez, I think, turned down a deal to the Yankees. He said he would never play for them. Like let's be real. So when it's like the first inning and they're talking about, oh my God, Aaron Judge is so locked in. Look at it. I mean, Aaron Judge hit a home run. We got to give him that. But that's like the stare down. And that's like Jazz Chisholm. Bro, Jazz Chisholm is hitting like 220. Who is he to be staring down anybody? I mean, I think Jazz Chisholm had he had a pulse in this series. But either way, I thought Dobbins, after the first inning, battled, got through 5. That's about all you can really expect from him at this point. But I think he does show potential. Like he has the stuff. I just feel like the more experience he'll get, he'll be fine. But you win the Crochet. I believe you won the Crochet. You won the Dobbins start. The Bueller one, got down big early, and then fought back. So you got to give him credit for that at least. But yeah, they take 2 out of 3. Like I said, Meyer hit his first home run. Campbell had a really good series. He went 4 for 7, home run, uh, 4 RBIs. Like I said, Devers hit 2 home runs, and I believe with Devers, he was the second fastest Yankee opponent to hit 30 home runs against them. Um, the fastest was Manny Ramirez. We know Manny Ramirez was a Yankee killer as well. So, you know, he's up there in great company. And you also have to marvel at the fact that Devers, with the terrible start he had to the season, is the league leader in RBIs. He's completely turned around. He's hitting like 280 now. So he's kind of up where Devers needs to be. And Devers, like I said, he hit 2 home runs. The final game of the series was late, off a lefty, like up and in, and he just roped it to right field. I think it was upper deck. So, he had a good series there. Trevor Story, who I did talk about, had a good series. The first game, I think he went 0 for 4. But the final 2 games in this series, he was 5 for 9, home run, 6 RBIs. Now, the home run was a Yankee Stadium home run, to be fair. But that's what that ballpark is. That's Yankee Stadium. I mean, DJ LeMahieu hit one similarly to Trevor Story. So, I'm not going to take it away from him. But with Trevor Story, trade deadline is July 31st. It's still a ways away. It's like, 6-7 weeks away. But it's time to really start thinking. Right? The Red Sox are 32 and 36. They're 4th in the AL East. They were 32 and 35 after the Yankee series. They did lose the first game to the Rays, which, yeah, just headache inducing. Although Roman Anthony did get his debut, great. Which Roman Anthony will kind of circle. I'll circle back around to him talking about the trade deadline. But July 31st, trade deadline. You still have some time to kind of evaluate. But at this point, how should we look at this Red Sox team? I'm not going to say like they should be buyers, like they're below 500. Can they change my mind on that? Sure, they'd have to go on some extended winning streak. They have the 2 games left with the Rays. Then it's an off day, I believe. And then they have another weekend series against the Yankees, but it's at Fenway Park. Can they take 2 out of 3 again from the Yankees? Then maybe I might look at this a little differently. But if they go on to lose the series against the Rays and then get like demolished this weekend against the Yankees, then no, I'm not going to sit here and say they should buy. I'll be like, yeah, you go ahead and sell. But maybe it's how much do they sell might depend on the next few weeks. And I only say that because, look, Bregman was the big acquisition in this offseason. Season hasn't gone well. Do the Red Sox entertain flipping Bregman, who I believe can opt out after this year and become a free agent anyway? And I only say that because now with Mayer, Campbell, and Anthony all up at the big club, you want the 3 of them to kind of stay up and get some experience under their belt so you're better off for next season. So if Mayer is up here and he's going to play either third, which he's played so far because Story's at short, would that lead you to let Bregman go? Or you try to move Mayer to short, which I believe is his natural position. And then when Bregman comes back, the left side of your infield is Bregman and Mayer. That's one thing the Red Sox are going to have to think about. 2, first base, I used to think was a big need for this team, but now I'm not so sure. Because you have Romy Gonzalez, who, remember, he got promoted when Casas went down, and then Gonzalez got hurt like not too long after, but then Gonzalez came back. Gonzalez seems like he's playing well. His batting average, I believe, he's hitting 321. So he's giving you a bat, a right-handed bat as well, which I think works in his favor. But you also have a bit of a platoon over there with Abraham Toro, who I feel like has played his way into almost an everyday spot. And what helps with him is he can play first or third. So if you have Mayer out there, and maybe it's because Toro is a switch hitter. So if you have a tough righty on the mound and you want to sit Gonzalez, you can put Toro over at first. If you face a tough lefty and you want to sit Mayer, Toro can then go play third. Because like I said, switch hitting ability. So I think first base isn't that big of a need to me, unless you're going to get a significant upgrade over Gonzalez and Toro. If not, I don't know if that's that big of a deal. So those two I think can hold down first. Even though the plan about moving Campbell to first, I think because of Toro and Gonzalez, you kind of scrap that plan. The next is Roman Anthony. Now with the club, he's going to play in the outfield. But you have an outfield that is, I guess, a little crowded somewhat. Like Rafael is in center. Okay, Duran's in left. You usually have Abreu in right, but Abreu is on the IL, which is why Anthony is up here. Let's say Anthony in that time rakes, right? If Abreu's healthy, do you just send Roman Anthony back down? No, you can't do that. At least I don't think you can. I mean, you technically could because he could go down there and just play more or whatever. But what if Anthony, knocks the cover off the ball, and there's already been talks about Duran, getting some attention out on the trade market, even though I wouldn't want to trade Duran because his speed at the top of the lineup is just so invaluable. And I think he represents kind of the new structure with this team built off some speed, some athleticism. So if it comes down to the two of them, as big as Abreu was early in the season, Abreu's kind of cooled off lately. I think you have to entertain moving Abreu. That way you'd go Duran, Rafaela, Anthony. Now, if they ultimately do move Duran, then I guess you can move Abreu to left and then put Anthony in right. I don't know how they would work that out. But, you have those questions out there. Narvaez, I believe, has locked down the starting catching spot, which is kind of unfortunate because I do like Connor Wong, but Connor Wong's offense has been putrid this season. I don't know what's going on with that. Would love to see him hit a little bit more. Otherwise, was he the last remaining piece from the Mookie Betts trade? You might. I don't know. What do you do with him? Also, I don't know the catchers on the come up in AAA or anything like that, but yeah, Narvaez has taken that position and run with it, which I'm happy because Narvaez is a better player than Connor Wong right now. But the biggest need may be in pitching, but I'm so conflicted with pitching right now because if they do kind of bottom out and still play inconsistently and poor, there are some guys on the pitching staff I think you could move. Buehler has like a 5.13 ERA, I believe. That's not what they signed up for. And I think he's a guy because of what he did last October. Some contender could take him knowing that, when the games get bigger, he'll be there and show up. But I'm looking at the bullpen. Bullpen has been worked, but there's a couple of guys out there who I think will garner some attention. Aroldis Chapman. Look, if this team is going to lose a lot of games, Chapman kind of loses his value on the team because he's your closer. Well, if he's not really getting closing opportunities, what are you keeping him around for? So do the Red Sox go ahead, sell high with him? His ERA is like 1.45, and he's still dealing 100, 101, 102 miles an hour. Some contending team, because every team needs bullpen help. Would you not dangle Chapman out there for some prospects? I don't know. The Red Sox are in this weird spot where you don't want to just keep flooding in prospects, because at some point, if you do want to win, you're going to need some guys who have been there, done that before. But some of these vets are maybe towards the end of their, I'm just going to say peak, but I mean, Chapman's like 42, but, or either towards the end of their peak or coming down to the end of their career, they may not want to hang around in Boston for the next couple of months for a dead end season. So I will be definitely paying attention to what the Red Sox do. Let's just say the rest of June, because I do think they have some opportunities to probably improve on their record. Well, I mean, the schedule is kind of tough because they have the Rays, then the Yankees, then the Mariners, who that Mariners series might be interesting. Because remember, there's a lot of flirting, seemed like, between the Red Sox and the Mariners for one of their pitchers. What if we get some kind of deal during this series? Because they will get to see Wu, Castillo, which I think are the two big names that were kind of being kicked around. I don't know. But then after that, you got the Giants, who are a good team. The Angels, I mean, they're the Angels. But then kind of after the Giants, you got the Angels, you got the Blue Jays, the Reds, the Nationals, the Rockies, and then Tampa Bay, which would kind of take you to 2 weeks before the trade deadline. So if they kind of tread water till after the Giants series, if they could dominate that Angels, Blue Jays, Reds, Nationals, Rockies, then Rays stretch, maybe we're looking at this team a little differently come the middle of July. But for right now, the offense is like picking up, which I do like. But like I said, looking at the first game against the Rays, it's like you score 8 runs. That's a game you should win easily, but you gave up 10. Now, in extra innings, when Alex Cora was ejected, he had a legit gripe because that pitch that who struck out on was it? No, it wasn't Toro. I'm drawing a blank. It was either Rafael or somebody struck out on a pitch that was literally in the same location that Zach Kelly's pitch in the top of the inning was called a ball, which led to a walk, which led to the Rays scoring their 2 runs. Because I believe Kelly gets that strikeout. He gets out of that bases loaded jam, not giving up a run, which then makes the bottom of the inning a little easier for the Red Sox. But instead, walked in a run, and then the next hitter got a single, and then, bottom half of the inning, the Red Sox couldn't score. So, yeah, Cora definitely had a gripe, but, a lot of these umpires, when you call them out on something that they completely were wrong about, you get thrown out and everything, so whatever. But, yeah, I'm just looking at this team right now, like 7 weeks out from the trade deadline, and I think Breslow and, those guys in the front office have some decisions to make. Like, at this point, I wouldn't be mad if they went full sell mode. There's not really any reasons to buy right now, but the guys I'm looking at, Trevor Story, I think he needs to continue kind of the hot bat that he showed in the last 2 games of the Yankees. Otherwise, he's a guy that kind of has to go. Because you could say that he'd be blocking Mayer from playing his regular position. I think Bregman, if Bregman wants to stay, cool. If not, I feel like you could move him and probably get probably get something for him. Chapman's a guy to watch. Flamethrower, can close, looks unhittable. Some team will definitely want him. And then I think Abreu and Duran, watch them. I would preferably say if you're going to move an outfielder, move Abreu, but Duran might get you more, so that's something to think about. And yeah, those are the names to watch. So you let me know what you think about the Red Sox. Should they buy, sell, stand pat, play it out? Who are the guys they need to move? I'm sure a lot of you might say Trevor Story. That's where I'm looking as well. But yeah, hopefully the Red Sox can turn this around. They're fourth in the AL East. I still think they could be a wild card team. I mean, they definitely have to get the plate. Get to 500 right first. Let's do that. They're currently 4.5 out in the wild card. Not insurmountable, but can we just see some better baseball? That's all I'm asking for. That's it. That's all I want. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, cool. Go ahead and hit that like button. Give me a follow. Subscribe, depending on what platform you're watching. If you're listening on the audio side, appreciate you as well. Feel free to leave a review, give a like, share it out as well. We're trying to build this up a little bit. So appreciate all of you. Be safe out there. God bless. I'll catch you next time right here. All right. Bye.